Welcome on into Sports Memo Today, where you get to know your favorite experts a little bit better, getting that actionable info you know and love all along the way. I'm glad to know that my mic is turned on currently because behind the scenes, my guy Robert, if you want to go back onto YouTube, on the Wager Talk YouTube, you can see him cooking me up on the basketball court. He's our producer behind the scenes, does a terrific job, but he is straight out of H-Town, Houston, and I'm wearing the Phillies colors. I make no bones that I'm a bona fide Philadelphia homer. So I'm glad to know no tech difficulties getting into the show because I was worried my guy Robert was going to cut off the mic and say, nope, we're not hearing from you until after the World Series. It's Houston, it's Phillies, and we're going to have a World Series preview coming up today with my guy, Jeff Michaels. We're going to be talking with him at the top, and also joining us on the show is one of our $2 Tuesday handicappers over at Sports Memo. We got Moneyline Matt batting that cleanup. He's got an NBA top-rated play going tonight that you could grab for just $2, or you could find some change in your couch, maybe underneath your car seat, and up the dosage there to $5. And speaking of dosage, you could get Dr. Chuck 5% NFL play. He's calling it a bookmaker mistake from our guy Dr. Chuck, and Dion D'Amico also has a 5%er, that one going in college football. So you get NFL, college football, and NBA. One going today, two going this weekend. $5. Can't really beat that. Also have a great deal coming up I'll tell you about for a Halloween promotion that could save you over $600. We'll talk about that after we welcome back in Jeff Michaels, also known as JM Sports. You can find him sm.buzz/JMS. Jeff, had so much fun hanging with you in Vegas. I was hoping that maybe it was going to be those Guardians that the Phils were going to be seeing, but no, it's the juggernaut called the Astros. How you been, brother, since we last talked? Things been running good?
Yeah, I can't complain. It's been a hot football season and, we still got some exciting baseball action, I guess, to watch. So I didn't know, preview, you said it, I'm going to be talking a little bit, but Robert must be the one doing the scheduling then, because I was kind of surprised you still let me on after I told you what we were going to be talking about today.
That's how it goes. While it seems like sometimes I stack the deck and only bring on people who are going to tell me that your Eagles are going to win and your Phils are going to win, I have to get some contrarians in every now and then. So I told you we were going to start with college football, but we can't tease the
Yeah.
people that long, Jeff. Let's get right into it. Man, somehow this Phillies team, who they can't even make routine plays at first base, are now in the World Series against, I said it at the top, absolute juggernaut. They're going up against this Houston team. So, Jeff, I really haven't seen anybody publicly make a case for the Phils, and I think you alluded to it. You're not making a case for them either. How are you betting this series, man?
Yeah, didn't mean to throw the things off course. You're right. You did say college football, but I am excited sometimes. I'm always been a
I
baseball
don't
fan,
blame
and
you.
I will be. So, but I think we said Houston has done it all year. I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing is consistency. So I'm looking for a series here. You got Houston's a big favorite in the series, but if you take
Mhm.
them at minus 1.5 games, you're actually getting them at almost even money plus a little bit of money, I do believe.
Mm.
And Phillies have been hot with the bats, but they had the second best batting average of the year, but Houston's right behind them. They're hitting third. I think they're nearly even offensively, to be honest. I think the resiliency of Houston and the pitching is going to be the biggest difference maker. I mean, you just look, I could go on with a list of Houston pitchers that would be potential aces on other staffs, not to mention going into the bullpen. They had the best bullpen ERA in the regular season, and their bullpen's only allowed 3 earned runs in their 7 postseason games. I was kind of shocked to see that the only Houston pitcher this postseason with a playoff ERA over 2.5, Justin Verlander. So I think we can give him the pass on the one Seattle game. Hey, who knows? But we got a little bit of cushion with a minus 1.5. You can sweep, you can win 3. But I think that pitching staff is the difference maker. I think we're going to see some high scoring games, but I think Houston's pitching prevails and holds the Phillies below where they're at. So I like that Houston minus a game and a half, and you're getting plus money in that. So your Phillies can have a game or two, and I think they'll get one at least back at home in Philly. So maybe go see if you can get a ticket to to game 3 there, dude.
Oh, I have been exhausting every contact that I have trying to get into that ballpark. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Now, I will say, taking like the homer goggles out of it, it's not like the Astros in this postseason run have faced the most stout pitching. So, going back-to-back days with Nola and Wheeler, I think that's maybe the chance for the Phils, but a lot of sharp people, a lot of people whose baseball opinions I respect, yours notwithstanding, my guy, telling me Astros the way to go. Before we get into this college football play, I saw our friend Ariel Epstein. You can find her on Prop Shop and Bet on It. Also does some other shows here for us at Wager Talk, does a great job over with the MLB Network. The way that she's attacking this series is she's going to bet the Astros in 5 and the Astros in 6. Both of those decent plus money takebacks. So I know you're just doing the handicap style minus 1.5, but any thoughts on, trying to isolate maybe what game the Astros do it in, or you're just going to take the 1.5 and then, not worry about either of those plus monies getting home?
No, I think there's opportunity there. I think
Mm-hmm.
this does kind of cover your bases to do it in one bet.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting better odds, you can bet it out separately. But I mean, Houston has, you said it, you're right. Houston has faced the best pitching, but Houston also hasn't lost a game in the playoffs, and there's something to be said about a team that makes the playoffs in itself. So kudos to the Phillies, but they were third place in their division last season. So, we'll see. They could step up, but I don't even know if Philly can get one. But I'm going to give them a little bit of cushion in case they can pull one out at home. So I think that that's more opportunity if you want to split it up into multiple bets. If you're getting better odds and you're getting better money, that's definitely one way to roll with it too.
All right, Jeff, enough of you telling me that my Phillies are going to lose. We're moving on, even though I think you just booked a week-long stay here on Sports Memo Today with our producer behind the scenes, Robert in H-Town. Let's talk a little college football, my guy. Chip Kelly and the UCLA Bruins are coming off a 15-point loss in the Chip Kelly revenge game to Oregon. Now they're rolling home. They're playing the Cardinal in Stanford. What do you think? They're laying a number here, 16.5-point favorites. Should we expect a bounce back, or is that loss looming a little bit? How are you going to be betting this tilt?
I think that loss looms, and it was a big loss. Obviously, like you said, they got blown out, but even in the win the week before where they beat Utah, that UCLA defense struggled. They allowed 479 yards and 32 points, but their offense stepped up enough to win that game. But accordingly, I mean, Stanford's defense has stepped up in the last 2 weeks too. They allowed 440 yards or more in 4 straight games to start the season. And then they held Notre Dame to their third lowest total of the year, and they held them to under 20 points for just the second time, the first one being Ohio State in week 1. I do think that there's something coming out of that big loss, and the way that the series between these two teams has gone, a newfound Stat Sunny nickname apparently that I've inherited, we'll throw it out there. I was looking at the head-to-head series. This is the first time since 2011 that this series has included a double-digit favorite or a dog, obviously. 2 out of the last 3 meetings between these two teams have been straight-up upsets. Stanford's 10-3 against the spread in the last 13 games in UCLA Stadium. And David Shaw's 9-2 after a conference win by 3 points or less, and 14-4 against the spread after a win by 6 points or less. So I think the momentum coming into this game is what I'm going with. I can't say that I foresee there being a third upset in the series in 4 years, but I do think Stanford covers the spread. I think they come out, their defense surprises UCLA a little bit and keeps them lower than where they are, which puts this line within reach easily for Stanford. So give me the 16.5. I like the Cardinals this weekend.
Yeah, and it may be more anecdotal because I don't have the hard numbers in front of me, but it just always seems like, even going back to his Oregon coaching days, it was always this Stanford matchup that has given Chip Kelly fits. And, sure, there's been some big wins in there, but you laid out, even in recent history, Stanford has made it tough on Chip Kelly, and now trying to reel after a loss is 16.5-point favorites. Our guy Jeff Michaels saying he's looking the other way, taking the points. Jeff, what do you have up? We have a great promotion for Halloween that I'm going to be sharing here in just a few moments. If people head on over to their page, you have anything loaded for tonight, or what do you have rocking for this weekend?
I do. I got some NBA action up. I gave a little sneak peek to you guys backstage beforehand. That's one of them. But I got top play up in the NBA action. I do have 2 props going up there with it as well. 3-play package, just $9. And I do have my eye on a lot of college football and pro football actually this weekend. So I do have a lot in the works for this weekend. The college football package could be up by as early as tomorrow. So make sure you check back for that too.
Love it, Jeff. Appreciate you coming on, even when you tell me take or lay the game and a half in the series. Always a pleasure, brother, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, man.
My pleasure.
So that does it for our guy, Jeff Michaels, and he is off the show until further notice. Just kidding. Did a terrific job. If you enjoyed the info Jeff has been dropping, you can always rock with him. And we have one hell of a discount going on at both Wager Talk and Sports Memo. It's Halloween, so we're doing a little Boo 31. That's code BOO31. Use it at checkout. You can use it just once at both Wager Talk and SportsMemo.com. So you get to use it twice. And what does that do? It gets you a 31% discount on one all-access package. So if you're a one-day kind of guy or gal, you can save $10 or $12. Save over a dozen dollars there. If you want 3-day all-access, try one of these guys out for the weekend. You can save over $18. If you do not have long-term commitment issues, you can get a 30-day all-access, take over $90 off of that. Or how about the big kahuna? Save over $600 if you use code BOO31 and get 12-month all-access. That's just around $377 a day for a year. You like what these guys are dropping? Why not ride with them for a year? Save over $600. Use code BOO31 at checkout, and that is good at both Sports Memo and Wager Talk, but you only get to use it once at either site. If you like same game parlays, you like prop betting, you like UFC, and you like winning money in the NFL, maybe use one of those Boo 31 codes on our next guest, Moneyline Matt. He has been making the rounds. He was on Wager Talk earlier today, and we locked him down to get him on Sports Memo Today. Matt, it's always good to chat with you. How you been doing? And tell people about the $2 play you have up tonight.
Yeah, everything's going great. Covering the NBA, the UFC, the NFL, and I love covering the NBA. Honestly, that's kind of how I got started as a pro NBA DFS player. And I do props, I do over/under bets, spread bets, I do same game parlays. I'm more so on my Twitter. But what I like to tell people is definitely subscribe. So you can get these plays as they're coming in. With the NBA, things happen split second. When a player drops, you have to be ready for that next player prop, for that spread adjustment, things of that nature. So that's why I say definitely subscribe to my channel and a lot of the other NBA cappers out there, because with the NBA, it happens very, very quick and you got to be ready.
Yeah, and those lines move quick. Once those injury reports come out, especially, you hear lineup changes. So you definitely want to grab that all access. It gets to your inbox the second that these guys load their plays. Let's give them a free one, Matt, and let's talk this Pelicans and Mavs matchup. Pelicans coming into tonight, 2-1. That one loss in overtime, so I don't think there's any rest issues. It's early in the season, and that was a day ago. I think we're fine on that one, but How are you betting this one? Mavs 4.5-point favorites is home as the hot Pels are coming to town. How are you betting this one, Matt?
Yeah, so with this one, first thing I want to say is now with this matchup, Brandon Ingram has been declared out, Herbert Jones has been declared out, and Zion Williamson have all been declared out. So this line is definitely around +5.5 now, +6. And if I'm being honest, I expect it to keep climbing. And for me, I'm going to wait on it because of that fact, because I'm with the Pelicans here. Looking at both of these teams, the Dallas Mavericks travel on the road to face off against the Pelicans in New Orleans. The Pelicans are 2-1 on the season, and the Mavericks are 1-1. And their last game was against the Memphis Grizzlies. They absolutely blew out the Grizzlies, but that was somewhat a situational play. The Grizzlies were on a back-to-back, traveling to Dallas. The Grizzlies were also without Dylan Brooks and a couple other players. And the Dallas Mavericks just took advantage of it. The Dallas Mavericks are 1-1. They were coming off a loss. Love playing teams in a bounce back. But with this game, both teams are coming off wins. Both teams are coming off days of rest. So because of that, I still have this fairly even when I look at both lineups. When you look at the Dallas Mavericks lineup, I actually believe this team is a little bit worse than last year. I don't think there's been enough basketball yet to see how much the Dallas Mavericks miss Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson was an 18-point-per-game guy, and now they have to kind of look for that second scorer or someone to kind of elevate their play to be that second scorer. And they do have some guys who are potentially capable of it in Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr., and I do really like what Christian Wood is doing. But in this matchup, with the New Orleans Pelicans, I said those three players are out. They have good, solid players that can elevate their play and fill those roles. The injury replacement theory, where the players come in, they slide into that starting role, and they elevate their play based off that injury and the team's needs. And one player that I'm really looking to tonight is going to be Trey Murphy III. In their last game where, Zion got hurt, Brandon Ingram got hurt, he came in, played 40 minutes, had 16 points and 9 rebounds. This is a very young player. He's a streaky shooter. If he sees a couple go in, look out because he can keep it rolling. And, this is still a New Orleans Pelicans team that has C.J. McCollum running the point guard. They have Jonas Valanciunas running the center. And if there's one area that the Dallas Mavericks are somewhat susceptible, it's going to be that 4 or 5 position. They haven't run a ton of Dwight Powell this year. They've been going with Maxi Kleber and Christian Wood. And I'll tell you one thing, if Jonas Valanciunas is matched up with any of those guys, I think the Pelicans are going to feed him all night long. I also think the Pelicans have a rebounding advantage with Jonas Valanciunas. Larry Nance Jr. sliding into that 4 slot. You still have Jackson Hayes who can rotate between that 4 and 5 slot as well. All good rebounding players and better rebounders than that in comparison to the Dallas Mavericks. When you look at the Dallas Mavericks, obviously Luka is the MVP frontrunner. He can go out and potentially get this game on his own. But after having a game last time against the Memphis Grizzlies where he did just that, I think he's going to come down a little bit here and have to rely on his teammates a little bit more. And because of that, I like the New Orleans Pelicans to cover this spread. I think they have a lot of really good players who can come in, fill that spot. Coming off the bench, like Jose Alvarado, Devontae Graham. I already mentioned Trey Murphy, Larry Nance, and Jackson Hayes. All of these guys are pretty skilled players. And then even Najee Marshall, who's one of the third guys coming off the bench. He's a guy who can come in and fill up that bucket. So because of that, I really like this injury replacement theory here. I think a lot of people are going to be hammering the Mavericks after last game where they blew out Memphis. It's going to be a very public favorite bet. So because of that, I'm going to ride the Pelicans here. I'm going to ride them to cover this 6-point spread. Again, wait till tip-off, but I like the Pelicans to cover this.
Yeah, and I think a good idea of you saying wait until tip-off, because as we're speaking, we're seeing the wagertalk.com live odds screen absolutely light up. So this one opened 4.5. One of the sharper odds makers in Las Vegas over at the South Point, Chris Andrews, has officially moved to 6. So we're seeing 6 at DraftKings, Caesars. Circa and Westgate still at 5.5, but you got to think that's going towards 6 too. So if you like the Pelicans, it's sounding like wait as money continues coming in on the Mavs. And you said in your handicap that was something you kind of expected, right? So you're not worried about this money coming in, pouring in on the Mavs. Somebody may know something. You're saying, I don't care. Give me the points, baby.
No, yeah, 100%. Again, I do expect it to move. I think it'll be 6.5, maybe 7 around tip off. So around those numbers, I can get down with that. I'll take the plus points there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, this Pelicans team has very capable shooters and probably a better 1-2 than even that of the Dallas Mavericks. Luka is kind of alone on his island currently. Obviously, I like Christian Wood. I like what he can come in and do. But Christian Wood really hasn't had to face that big body just yet, like maybe a Larry Nance Jr. or a Jackson Hayes or a Joe Val or anything along those lines. So I like this matchup. I think CJ McCollum can help to get this done at home. Joe Val can have a good game. And then, again, you got guys filling in like Trey Murphy and Devontae Graham, all those guys.
So that's our thoughts on the NBA tonight. Let's swing around, talk the NFL real briefly before we run out of time here, because, Matt, everybody wrote the Bears off, just like Geno Smith. They ain't right back. They win outright against the Patriots on Monday Night Football. So now it's a quick turnaround spot. Now they're facing off against a Dallas team who it looked like it was going to be tight against Detroit. It looked like my plus 7.5 Detroit ticket was going to get home until it didn't. Maybe a questionable interception that aided them to that role, but they're 5-2, are the Cowboys, and now they're almost 10-point favorites. I don't know, that too many points to this surging Bears team, or you think maybe some public love coming in for the Bears after a Monday Night Football win?
So for me, I'm going to be all over the Cowboys here, but I like it at 9.5. I'm plugging this one in early just because it's at 9.5, and I actually feel like it could get to 10 or 10.5. When looking at last game with the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots, I'm not really buying into that all that much. I had the Bears +8 over on SportsMemo, so that was one of my official plays. I felt very good about it as well. This New England Patriots team was scoring far more points than expected. They had 24 plus points for 4 straight weeks. They had a 38-point week as well. And when you break down that roster, it's really just not that good. And I felt like that was a correction game for the New England Patriots, and the Chicago Bears were going to be that team to do it. Again, that was one of those games too that was in the rain. For some odd reason, the Chicago Bears love the rain. That's how they beat the San Francisco 49ers as well. But here's the thing. Every single time this season that the Chicago Bears have won a game, they have followed up the following week with a loss outright and a loss against the spread. Okay, the Bears beat the 49ers 19-10 in the rain in Chicago, followed it up to play the Green Bay Packers, lost 27-10 and lost a double-digit spread. Then the Bears beat the Houston Texans 23-10. Following week, failed to cover the spread against the New York Giants. And I believe this week is going to follow the same exact trend, because the glaring weakness in this game is going to be that Chicago Bears offensive line and their ability to give up sacks, and that Dallas defensive line and their ability to get sacks. The Chicago Bears rank dead last in sacks allowed throughout the NFL, while the Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, are first throughout the NFL at getting to the quarterback. And I actually think this is very, very important due to the fact that someone like Micah Parsons is coming off that edge. Generally, you don't have defensive ends or outside linebackers, edge rushers, whatever you want to call them, that can get to the quarterback and are as fast as the quarterback. This actually affects Fields' ability to rush the football or climb up in that pocket and take off. We all know Fields loves to take off and run with that ball. And I think Micah Parsons is just as fast and is going to limit him in doing so. This is just one of those spots, once again, where I think the defense ranks so good against that offense with the Chicago Bears that the Chicago Bears are going to be very, very limited and not have the ability to score many points. It's very difficult for me to see the Chicago Bears team scoring more than 14 points in this game. And then when you go on the other side of the football, the Dallas Cowboys offense has been getting better and better every single week in terms of rushing the football. And that Bears defense is not very good at stopping the run. their best part of their defense is actually that secondary. So I think you're going to see a lot of Zeke Elliott. I think you're going to see a lot of Tony Pollard. I think you're going to see a mix of that play action attack. And I think this is the game where the Dallas Cowboys score 24 plus points. And if the Dallas Cowboys score 24 plus points, it's very, very difficult for me to see the Chicago Bears scoring 14 plus, given the facts that I've said earlier, with the getting to the quarterback, with their ability. I mean, the Dallas is, if there is a weakness in the Dallas defense, it's their rushing defense, where they're somewhat middle of the pack. But again, I think this defense is just going to be good enough. They're going to stack the box. They're going to force Justin Fields to try and beat him with his arm. And with a front four like the Cowboys have, I just don't see that happening. The Dallas Cowboys are one of the top throughout the NFL in taking the ball away and getting turnovers. And the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields are one of the top at giving that football away. So for me, I like the Dallas Cowboys to cover this -9.5 spread. And I would not be surprised if it got to 10 or 10.5. So I think you got to take this one early.
Lay it with the boys. The Bears, they got their Super Bowl win on Monday Night Football, according to our guy, Moneyline Matt. Matt, you told people about the $2 Tuesday play. Let people know what you have locked in for this weekend and what you have moving forward before we sign off for the day.
Yeah, 100%. So tonight I have my $2 Tuesday NBA play. It's my top NBA play of the day. Going to be one of the featured games as well, a game a lot of people are going to be watching. So if you want to bet some money with it, I think this is a great pick. And then in addition to that, I have another NBA player prop up. I hit the NBA pretty hard every day. It depends on the slate. This 4-game slate, it's solid. You can get a couple plays from it, but there's a better slate tomorrow. Tomorrow I might have around 5 plays too, if you want to check that out. In addition to that, I already have 2 NFL plays up. I have a 4-unit NFL play up. I've only gone above 3 units once this year. I've had 1 4-unit play last week. That hit, so I'm 1-0 with 4-unit plays, and I'm going to have another one this weekend, so I'm very excited about that. And then also, I am going to have UFC plays up probably tomorrow or closer to Thursday. We have the Wager Talk Inside the Distance show with Kyle Anthony and Andy Lang and myself. So if you're a UFC fan, definitely check that out. I'm going to have NBA plays, NFL plays, and UFC plays up almost every single day going forward.
And always make sure you're subscribed here to Sports Memo TV and Wager Talk TV, because you never know if Inside the Distance is going to go at 5 o'clock or go at 8 o'clock. That's why you subscribe, so you get the notifications and you never miss an episode to any of our great shows here. Huge thanks to Moneyline Matt. Huge thanks to our guest at the top, even though he buried my fills, Jeff Michaels. That's going to do it for us here on Sports Memo Today. Appreciate you tuning in. You can grab Matt's play, just $2, or add an extra $3. Get one from Dr. Chuck, a 5%er from Dion D'Amico. And of course, that code BOO31, you can use it at both Wager Talk and at Sports Memo, and it gets you 31% off any all access, be it a 1-day, 3-day, 30-day, or save over $600, 12-month all access, coming out to just about $3.77 per day. If you enjoyed the show, I just told you, hit like, subscribe, hop below in the comments, let us know what you're betting, whether you agree, whether you disagree, and that's going to do it for us. For my guests, Jeff Michaels and Moneyline Matt, I'm Dan Alexander, and we'll see you Thursday here on Sports Memo Today.